It's not a market that I'm not that familiar with, but I'll assume that you have the patent and it works and it's effective. So I'm trying to think now, okay, how do you really bring this to market, and which market do you want to target first?
You said that.
That is a great question.
So what are the expectations from the market? How do they need to see
the
you?
250,000 units represent 1/3 of 1% of the civilian shotgun market in the United States. Okay, there are over 900,000 police officers in this country. Virtually every cop car on the road has a shotgun in the trunk. For instance, here in Bend, they're only allowed to use them for opening doors and bean bags because of the risk of collateral damage. Our advisory board is comprised of police, SWAT officers, sheriff, deputies, special forces guys, standard military, homeland defense. They love this. Now, the concept, when it started out, didn't look like it looks now. Before we talked to all those guys, it looked like what they refer to as a Christmas tree. Now, it looks like this. Okay, so you've got that right there. You see the side wall there, it expands. Back wall, right there. You guys up top, you can see it on the back wall right there.
You don't need to duck.
So that's what it looks like. When it started out, there were an additional 8 lasers around the outside, painting a bigger perimeter. It was going to be used a little differently. We listened to the people who are going to be using it, and this is what they want.
And what do they need to see from you? So when you talk to, say a civilian police, for them to put in a purchase order, what do they need to see you in terms of, do you need to integrate with a shotgun maker? Do you have to have certain...
No. In fact, we have 2 different parallel paths that we're exploring. Okay. One is licensing our intellectual property to someone who is already in the marketplace, who already has open avenues with the military, with police, who has distribution channels set up everywhere. Okay. If we can do that, we're done. We're good.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So that's ideal, right? But what we're running into, we have approached the largest laser sight manufacturer in the world, and they love it. They took it to the teams for us. They took it to the SEALs for us. We got feedback through them. That 250,000 number, they came up with the same number. So this stuff has been validated. What we're running into is the success in the firearms market right now has created a situation where no one has production capacity for anything. Okay, everything flies off the shelves. They can't build enough of what they have now. The largest manufacturer in the world is currently doubling their production capacity, and they're still going to be behind. So that problem we're running into is nobody has the capacity to tackle. So the other road we're traveling down right now is one through the military, and there are military grants that will fund, if we're accepted, and we're making headway on it. That's happening next week. We're having a conversation about that. If we get accepted into that, they will fund our research and development using their engineers and give us a PO. We're launched. That's the other avenue. We sell it to the teams, we sell it to special forces first, then we go to police, then we launch in the civilian market. Okay, and so that 250,000 unit, that is only the civilian market. We're expecting between 50 and 100,000 units in military and police, and those are direct sales. So instead of $124.99, we're looking at $224.99. So before we hit that $31 million mark, we're going to sell another $22.5 million. That's profit. That's gross profit.
So what kind of liability do you run into in a market like this, where you've got a product that's kind of making a promise, but maybe you're not making a promise?
It's going on a firearm that's going to be used. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's a great question. That's one I run into a lot. The thing you have to remember is that our technology is not new technology. Every piece of our technology has been tested. Okay. It has been in use for 30 years. Our technology is simply the use of proven technology in a way not previously contemplated to address a big new marketplace. What that means is it's already been proven, it's already been tested, and the liability lies in the hands of the person pulling the trigger.
I'm just going to comment from an investor perspective, being able to license it initially to get feedback and learn from that process, or getting government grants for the military to do further development is attractive. It's trying to create and manufacture and distribute a market brand and all that is so expensive to lever other people's resources. That's right. Is very wise. Yeah, so it's my 2 cents. Maybe questions from others?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Am I on? So my question is, just a little bit of direct, having done this, I was a team here for 7 years in Portland. So I carried a shotgun with a laser sight on it, the laser products, one beam.
Right.
The only thing I carried in it was a slug, so, because I couldn't carry, if I carried buckshot, I didn't know where it was gonna go.
Right,
So
exactly.
this is like fighting my home turf.
That is exactly what we hear.
Now, my question for you is, why do you need $10,000?
To pay for our international patent and travel expenses to go see SOCOM.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Randy, did you have a question?
What is the spread shot difference between different shells? So how do you count for that spread?
Right. So the idea with this is that you are using the right kind of ammunition for what you're doing. Okay. The ammunition you're going to use if you go duck hunting is not the same ammunition you should be using to defend your home or clear a room. This is designed for use with double op buck. Okay. That spreads at 2 inches, approximately 2 inches every 10 feet. Okay. Now, if you go to something like 4-shot, which for those of you who don't know shotguns, it's used for upland beavers, those kinds of things. That spreads like a bell pattern. Okay, that's much more difficult. Close range, it's still going to be effective, but it's not what you should be using for tactical or home defense. Okay, so this is encouraging you to use the right instrument for the job.
So I have a comment actually over in the panel.
Okay.
This is not my field of expertise, and I would normally be kind of disinclined to like gunny kind of things. But so for me, this is just a comment, not a question. I want to commend you on having an exceptional presentation because, you're totally. You've won me over. I think this is a great idea. I think it sounds like a great product. It sounds like you're an expert in your field. And that was no small feat. So, congratulations.
One last quick question.
Have you looked into an IR solution for use with night vision?
Absolutely, and the military version will be IR. Other military solutions are this technology is not just for shotguns. Okay, so IR is one of many things we are going to have to build. The military is going to want, not exclusively IR, but the teams are going to want almost exclusively IR. That's what they're using now. Okay, and so the other applications would be like for our IAD destroyers or disruptors, our guys are using overseas right now. Okay, they're using these devices to get rid of the IADs, dismantle them without losing all the data they can gain to go find the bad guy. But they're currently using a single laser system to sight that. It's very difficult to see, and it does not paint the blast radius. This can do that. Okay, so it can be used on rocket-propelled grenades. It can be used on carbines, just with a different, picture a triangle instead of a box. Your brain picks up that triangle more quickly than a single dot. Again, target acquisition time. You can put that on machine guns, carbines, handguns, tasers, pressurized gases.